Hello and welcome once back again to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to properly execute queries in SQL. Alright, now this is something that a lot of people overlook, especially when you are starting out in SQL. Alright, this is something that a lot of people overlook and do not really pay much attention to. But the thing is that if you overlook this, it's either going to make or break how your SQL tutorial goes, or how you get to understand the SQL, pick it up quickly and then get used to it as fast as possible. All right, because in SQL everything has an order. All right, unlike other tools that you can use this and add this and still get a result, with SQL you need to follow specific orders when you are executing queries. All right, it's very important. Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, I think it's one of the most important things that you need to keep in mind. All right, the order and way by which you do what, by which you arrange your queries. All right, is very important. And when I began SQL, this is something that I really didn't pay much attention to. I didn't really, I wasn't privy to understanding this. Okay, and a lot of times I just mixed up my queries, my education process, and it gave me so much trouble. And so today I decided to just take you through how to do this. And yeah, so if there's something that you enjoy, be sure to follow as I take you through. And so in executing your queries, all right, the first statement for in executing any query is a, is a select and from statement, because the select and the from statement helps you to do to actually first pick the data from your table. All right, and so you can't begin a query without a select from statement. Okay, and I've already explained this, that the select and the from, to me, it goes hand in hand. All right, and so you use that to first pull in your data. It's like, let's assume that you want to drive a car. All right, if you want to drive a car, what is the first thing that you do? The first thing that you do if you want to drive a car is to be able to open the door and then sit inside the vehicle or the car. All right, without you having that authority to open the car and then sit in it, or open the door and then sit in it, then how do you drive the car? All right, and so in SQL, that's the first thing. The select and from helps you to open that car door and then sit in, for you to be able to now use the steer and the brakes and then whatever that you want to use. All right, and so we start off by saying select whatever I want to select from. All right, so this is the first step, to select and then to from. All right, so once you get your selected from, we've selected and we've selected from a particular table. All right, now the next thing is that maybe after selecting and from, or after opening the vehicle door and going right in, sitting in, now what do you do after that? Now what you do after that is that now you spark the car. All right, now you need to spark the vehicle, you need to put on the engine. All right, and once you put on the engine, the next thing is, are you going forward or are you going back? Are you going reverse or are you going forward? All right, now that is where the where clause comes in. So the where clause helps you to determine what exactly you want from that particular database. Perhaps you don't need every single detail in this particular table, right? You don't need every single thing. You only need specific information. So once you only need specific information, you select, and then you after selecting from that thing, the specific information that you need, we use what we call the where clause. All right, the where clause that tells you, should I move forward or should I move back? Do I need only information for females or males? Do I need only information for people in Abuja or Port Harcourt? Do I need only information for people, what have you? All right, now once you get that, the next thing that you do is that now you need to group by. If you are using the group by clause, probably you want to group the table by, or you want to organize your table. All right, so the next step that comes after is to group your table, to group the table by. All right, so you don't go from select from to group by to where. No, you go from select from to where. That is what you are actually picking. Now when you get what you are actually picking, now you group by a particular table. You understand? Now you group it by a particular table. So that is the third thing that comes. So I've selected from, Now that I've opened my vehicle, I've got in, I've indicated whether I'm going reverse or whether I'm going forward. All right, and I need to position myself well enough. All right, I need to get myself organized. Is this the seat that I'm sitting in? Is it too far off? Is it too forward? All right, I need to position myself well enough so that I can see what is ahead of me. All right, so that I can see my side and side mirrors. I can see what is behind me. All right, and so that is a grouping by the organization part. All right, and so the next step would be to group by. Now, after grouping by, a lot of the times you probably not use having. All right, a lot of the time, but when you need to use having, I have a video on having, how to use having, the having clause. All right, and I explained or I stated that the having clause comes in when you need to use aggregate functions, you know, with your where clause. All right, so the having clause is more or less like where clause plus aggregate functions, but you can't use where clause plus aggregate function. And so that particular space where we have where clause plus aggregate function, all right, is what we term as having clause. All right, because we cannot use both the where clause and the aggregate function together. Okay, and so in view of this, we use what we call the having clause. And so for let's say I have a table, I need to select this and this and this from this particular table, and then where I'm specifically looking at people in the state of Abuja. Okay, so now I'm grouping by maybe the state Abuja, but at the same instance, I want people in Abuja having total borrowed amount or the sum of total borrowed amount, that is the aggregation. So having the sum of total borrowed amount over 100,000. All right, so I'm having the sum of, so let me just write it here and say, so let's say I'm selecting gender. All right, I'm selecting age, I'm selecting state. All right, and then sum total borrowed amount. I written it so that you can follow. All right, from marketing. All right, so the sum total borrowed amount from marketing. All right, and I'm going to say where, because I don't need all the details, so I'm going to say where state is equal to what, Abuja. So where state, I only need for Abuja. All right, people only in Abuja. So where state is Abuja, and then I'm grouping by what? So I'm grouping by gender, age, state, or I'm grouping by this. But at the same time, even though I want the state should be Abuja, I only want people who are earning a total borrowed amount of more than 100,000. So I'm going to say having the sum. So this is where the having clause comes in. Total borrowed amount, all right, greater than 100,000. So this is how your statement will look like. All right, if you write this, you are going to get your answer. All right, so this is how you are going to write it. So now that we've used the having clause, now what we can do is that now we can now come back and we can now order by. So we can choose to order by the state, we can choose to order by age, we can choose to order by anything. But in this case where we have this over here, we can just say, okay, now we are ordering by the sum total borrowed amount. All right, and do you want it in ascending order or descending order? So let's say DSC. All right, so this is how your, let's see, oh sorry, order by, excuse me, I did something wrong. So now you run this and voila. So on the normal, so when you are executing your queries in SQL, this is how, or this is the process, the execution process that you should follow. All right, you first select from the table that you are selecting from, and then maybe you are only targeting specific people, specific state, specific group of individuals or people, or geographical places, what have you. So your where will come in. So where whatever you're looking for is equal to whatever you're looking for. Or you can also use a greater than, less than over here. It doesn't matter as long as you are not using the where and then the aggregate function. All right. So once you have that, now you can now group by. What are you grouping by? So group by gender, age, state, whatever you are grouping by. All right, because a group by helps you to organize the data. All right, and then now you use your having clause where you have an aggregate function that you are specifically targeting. All right, so you are an aggregate function with a specific column that you are actually targeting. So it can be sum, it can be count, it can be average, it can be min, it can be max. All right, it can be anything. All right, that goes with the having clause if you are specific, if you are targeting something specific. All right, and then now you can order by. So the final thing is to order by whatever they are ordering by. Could be gender, could be age, could be state. But in this case, we just use the sum total broad amount, and we want it in descending order. That means from the highest to the lowest. All right, and so we have it right over here. And so this is how you are supposed to group your executions. All right, or this is how your queries are supposed to be grouped in SQL, so that you can have an easier query execution. Because if you mix this, if I put this right over here and I bring this right over here and I mix it up, it's not going to work. It will give me error, and you keep thinking about what the error is and how the error came about and all that, and before you realize you wasted so much time. Meanwhile, it's just a simple execution order that you fail to follow. So this is the execution order that you should follow in your SQL executions. All right, and so I hope this video was helpful. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. All right, and yeah, like I always say, do all to take care of yourself, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.